Inside LAFC, episode number 7. We have a really cool setup here with me and Vince. What do we got here, Vince?
We're lean
new
and
technology.
Mean. Lean and mean, new technology. So hopefully this sounds great, and I think it will. But
looks beautiful. This is a Yeti.
A Yeti. It's a cool. We're not getting paid for this, but
it's just a free advertisement.
Some free advertisement. But
well, it may not work out. We'll say some bad things about Yeti down the road, and maybe they'll catch your of it and they'll say we want in.
Yeah, and get us some better equipment. But we're really lean and mean. If people are watching. That's my phone. This is the Yeti. Max Bredos, back from Europe, European traveler.
Yes. I'm getting a lot of heat here from taking a trip in the middle of the season, but everyone does. And I saw Bob, and he goes, hey, how was Europe? And I knew deep down, he's like, you're taking off in the middle of the season, huh? So I did. There's guilt setting in here, but there's no doubt about it. I had to take this week off because we really needed some family exploration, and we had a great time. Went to London and Paris, and but right now, I had a lot of hassle with team security Paul to get in here. Said I lost some privileges, but I really didn't have in the first place. I didn't think.
Yeah, I don't know how you go from.
Is that a bad thing to take off?
0 to less than 0? I don't know. I mean,
I'm not. See, DC United game was on Fox, so we weren't broadcasting. We'll be back on YouTube TV for FC Cincinnati. Only the second game I broadcast. I am dying to call a game.
Look, I would say if you can get a vacation, it's great. I mean, I was just here slaving away. Like I normally do. Thanks,
Technically,
Max.
A vacation to me is lying on a beach. This was not a vacation. This was an experience. I feel good.
Would you call it a romp? Was it a romp through Europe?
When you go to the beach, you don't travel with 4 giant pieces of luggage, which is what we did here. Because it was me, my wife, my son, and then both our moms.
Oh.
So it was heavy duty. I wish you came, because I could have used a drinking buddy, because in England, I mean, there's pubs everywhere. They're saying you have no choice but to drink. But there's nothing quite like going in and having a pint. There was a pint near our hotel, and I frequented each of the 3 nights we were there.
Yeah, I'll have to say, Max, I saw a lot of Instagramming of you by yourself with a pint in your hand. So I was like, Max needs a buddy. However,
that's good.
So you did get away from work, but there was some football.
I did. See, I went there, and I'm such a knob. I should ask. So Chelsea-West Ham, because I'm a West Ham supporter, I wanted to go to that game. That was moved from Saturday to Monday. I don't know why. Monday, I'd moved on to Paris. So a friend of mine goes, dude, why don't you reach out to Simon Green, who used to be a lower executive at Fox Soccer Channel, and now he's like the top guy at BT Sports. I don't use my connections. So I emailed him and goes, yeah, let's go sit in the suite at the I'm such a dummy. I've got to figure that out, and I could have stayed another day and seen both semifinals. Which would have been cool.
You should have.
Yes.
Because the one you went to was City. It's not often you say there's 2 semifinals. I went to the City one. That was the boring one.
Yes.
Because the Wolves.
Yes.
The Wolves Whopper one. That's the old magic of the.
But I'd never been to Wembley, old or new. So to go over there and just soak it all in was really cool. And in our profession, to cross those things off their list, I think are essential. To say you've seen a game here, because it comes up all the time, and to say yes, I have seen a game there, is tremendous. So it was fun. I did skirt out of the 85th minute. The Brighton fans were great. I did ask a couple people, what is Albion? And the answers, I didn't care for the answers. They're like, well, because they always Brighton and Hove Albion, West Bromwich Albion. Goes, it's like Village. I go, what? What is Albion? Anyway, I didn't get a really good answer. If you know, reach out to us.
It's another word for village?
Or something like that. I got 3 different answers. It goes, what is Albion? Why include it? Albion. Or town. I don't know. I can't remember the answers. I'm sorry to bring it up at this point. A recommendation.
Okay.
So I don't like to do the touristy things. I like to go to the back. But they have these double-decker bus, the big bus. And my friend said, just do it, especially in London. And I go, all right. So I got tickets. They're like £25 a day, and if you get it for 2 days, it's like £30 total. And they have buses going 5 minutes, every 5 minutes around town. There's like 30 stops. So you can sightsee, and you have a little earpiece where they have a guided tour. And then you can get off at any of the stops and get on and another bus comes. So if you needed, instead of taking a cab, if you wanted to go from Kensington to go to Buckingham Palace, you get on there and you go through it.
Max's England hack. That's a good idea.
But I was like a complete...
tourist?
It was like a vagabond getting on and get off.
Pretending to listen?
Yeah, you'd be like this. It goes, if you look to the left, it is the King's Arms pub, established in 1876 with the best tasting lagers. I'll get the next bus.
Yeah, I'll get off. Thank you, sir.
So a lot of that. It was a lot of fun. I recommend getting out there, and it's good for the soul. It's so good, especially if you're a soccer fan. I only went to a game. I was going to go I was in Paris on Monday or Sunday night. There was a PSG game, and I thought about it for a second. I go, no. No, it's PSG Strasbourg. Wait, that's where the word Choupo-Moting's horrible miss.
Which Synergy, throw to the Black and Gold show, was my social media pick because I always win that game. Clearly,
You've taped the show, right?
So yes, we've already taped it. I don't know if I won, but I won.
Yes.
I mean, that's the best, right?
Yes.
That's literally the worst howler I think I've ever seen. And the best part is, you didn't need to even touch it.
No, did not touch. The etiquette would have come into view.
Wanted a goal. Yeah, even if he scores, still would have been giving him stick for it, right? Because he's just goal reaper, just a Filippo Inzaghi little touch. But tell me,
I really feel guilty now not going to that game because, like I said, I was at that game.
Yeah.
I was at the game in Milan, the Inter game where they were home, where the one dude threw the scooter onto the field.
No.
Yeah, I was at that game.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
That was pretty cool.
Right,
I was like, I didn't see it. I go, what happened? He goes, this guy threw a scooter on the field. I go, what?
If you don't know about that game, just look up Milan scooter on YouTube, and I think you'll find it.
A Vespa.
Oh yes.
Sorry.
Well, Max, how was your MLS experience from Europe? How did you follow the game?
I had to follow it on my laptop. I actually watched it. I was watching it kind of like I went to this one place, and you do not know how lucky you are in the United States to view the sport because they don't know how to do it in Europe. I'm sorry, I said it. So, for instance, last night I was watching the 2 nights ago I was watching the Champions League. They had 4 TVs at this pub, and it was the Liverpool game. And then the next game over, you figured Man City. No, it was a replay of the Bayern-Dortmund game. And I asked the guy 3 times, oh, yeah. And I'm like, you don't have it? It's like, he said Champions League. So I did it, and then I ended up, after it, I watched it later that night when they applied it on YouTube and stuff and watched. Also, the ESPN app, it did work on there, so I got there the replays. So I watched it then, and I watched it again there. So it was, I know that the games are available there. I probably should have done a better job of doing it, which is a weird time.
Only certain ones, though, so you might not have gotten it.
That game did not apply. I think it would have been the Cincinnati Sunday game from ESPN would have been the one that it would have aired. So, yeah.
Well, you could have prepped for.
Yeah. I did. I watched a little bit.
So many angles you could have prepped for our next game.
Cincinnati Sporting Kansas City.
Well, let's talk about DC, though, before we even get into Cincinnati.
What a marker.
Yeah, what did you think? What time was it on? What time did you get to watch it? So did you watch it live or did you watch it?
I watched it. I followed it live on my computer without pictures, and then I watched it a couple hours later. So I think like 10 o'clock because it was an 11:30 West Coast time. So it was like 8 o'clock over there.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too late. So it was a very agreeable time to watch it.
Well, then let me ask you because it was a weird game.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people were like, "Wow, it was such a great game, 4-0. You really hammered them," and I was like. Yes and no. So let me ask you from following on your computer, what was your initial thoughts of what happened?
But when I watched the game, it was just the exposure of DC United. LAFC was unforgiving, and to do what they did because I was listening to the broadcast. It was John Strong, Stu Holden, and they're like, and I was doing it too. Best in the East, best in the West, best 2 teams. And obviously, it's way too early to say that, even for LAFC's perspective, even though they look like the best team in Major League Soccer right now. But then you say, this isn't the best team in the East and West, so maybe we shouldn't have built it up so much. I'm glad we did because it became an event, but LAFC quickly sucked all the energy of the event out of it in that first half. I mean, DC was good, engaged for a few minutes, and then just the fact and how LAFC punishes you for your mistakes. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a sign of a great team because you make a mistake, and not only that, remember we were talking about the defense last week. They allowed 1 goal. Now DC's United defense is in tatters. You can't consider them a good defensive team based on what we saw. Wayne Rooney hasn't put 1 foot out of place. He's now put his foot out of his place for the first time this season with a red card, but he was a non-factor. This was just comprehensive. This was, I know Bob says there's a lot of work to be done and some things, but I'm like, this just took DC United with so much promise, and now they've got to be a team with asking a lot of questions.
Yeah, two big things for me, and we talked about it the week before because we know we're up on teams. Yeah. We said DC the best defensive team in the league. We're not so sure.
We got some props from there. I forgot to reach out, but thank you for noticing on that.
And I'm gonna say, and I think we even said, well, I think it's the 2 guys in front of the defense that really makes that defense go, Canals and Moreno. But they made all the mistakes and were basically cut out of the play. So once LAFC was able to get in front of that shield, those 2 guys shielding, they went to work. And the other thing is, Bob said it right after the game. He said it's a bit of a choppy game, and I completely agree with him. But you gotta, like you said, you gotta look at it and say that's a great win because it's just another way that LAFC won a game.
Yeah.
So we won games late. We won games.
This was over at halftime.
Yeah, this one was won early, but it was won via basically making a team pay for all its mistakes. The only free-flowing kind of LAFC fluid play was just in the transition moments.
Bob said afterwards, he was very respectful. He goes, look, they were down a man. I go, Bob, you already up 3 goals before they were down a man. So this was, the writing was on the wall even before.
Well, I think he would have liked to seen a sharper second half.
Yeah.
I didn't mind. Look, I would have loved to hammer him 6-7. To me, what I really wanted to see was probably one of the things Bob wanted to see was just some control in the match. Because it never seemed like either team really had control.
Yeah.
But just they made bigger mistakes and we capitalized on them. And then from the other side, Rooney was non-existent. We both said Walker Zimmerman, Eddie Segura.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Before we talk to him, you made a great point about how LAFC took advantage of the central midfield of DC United, and all the goals where Mark Anthony Kaye came up with his assist and he broke through that. The one that I loved was, I think it was the second goal where Rossi sets up, passes to Vela, and then he just rips by both of those guys and separates. It looked like 100-yard. He looked like Usain Bolt, and he was like the first qualifier of the Olympics. And here are the guys, and those, from the sprinter from Tahiti who's just there for, and he goes, whoop, and there's this gap. The visual thing is just this big gap created, and he gets the ball back. I was like, wow.
There's so many little details. I mean, we broke it down in anatomy. Mark sat down with us for about 5-10 minutes and like just literally broke piece by piece down everything. Well, a lot of people wanted to know about that turn he made. He said to me, and actually I have a little written piece coming out later just about it and about the small details. He's like, that's something I work on daily, that those type of turns and those type of moments after training almost all day with Mike Sorber. And I talked to Bob and he goes, yeah, we break out of training. Mike works with the midfielders. Kenny works with the defenders. Ante with the strikers. We work on the little details. So Mark talking about it, it's a privilege to kind of hear like just them saying, but I love Mark says, I'm not the fastest. He's like, but in those moments when we get out and run, he's like, I feel like I have an extra push.
Yeah,
and so
it looks like that way too.
Diego must have had rocket boosters on because he flew in. I think that's 2 things. One is the ideas, the initial idea. Bob says to guys, make purposeful runs. We don't go through the motions. We do things the right way, or not the right way, but do things that are purposeful. And the other thing is just the confidence, right? When you know that your teammate has got you and can find you in those moments, which Carlos can find anyone, you're more than willing to make the run. Because what's the worst thing that happens? You make those 40-yard runs and the guy takes a shot from 30 yards out, and you're just like, hey, friend,
look somebody up.
Yeah. The best part is also, I keep forgetting, that goal happened with 10 men on the field.
Yeah.
Dio was not on the field during that moment.
Unbelievable. Hopefully Dio's, any reports that Dio's
still a little too early
to say, but obviously his, again, like Marco Urena, I guess, early last season, having a number 9, assisting in many goals, and that is a byproduct of this system. Everyone plays certain different roles. It's not just there to strike. Christian Ramirez does it. He's back. He'll find ways to get those guys involved, and it is irresistible at times. Yeah,
to stay on the pitch, you have to. There's no just guy that poaches. I mean, everybody on the pitch, and I don't just mean this as the number 9 as Dio, but I would say all the way down to Jordan at left back, or even Tyler. They have to be able to play with their feet, have to be able to play. We want footballers. And that doesn't matter what position you're in. Be a footballer first, then you can specialize, break out in training at the end of training and do your specialization. But during the majority of training, you're here to be a footballer, to have ideas as a team, not just to do one thing well. So I think that's a big thing. But I want to go. I need to go back to Walker and Eddie.
We have to, because we get caught up in all the goals. You have the top 2 goal scorers playing on the same team now in Vela and Rossi. But it cannot be, and it's easy to overshadow, and we all do. And the immediate reaction was Rossi's hat trick, and you have to, Vela again involved. Is this team has had 2 road games and not allowed a goal and not really allowed that many chances. And I'd like to give Tyler Miller credit, but you looked at DC United, he did not have to make a couple challenging saves. And defensive pairing of Walker Zimmerman, Eddie Segura, and this is only going to get better, right? It's still in diapers because they have only played a few games, and Eddie's new to this country, this league, this team. But they get it, and it's the way they can extinguish opportunities time and time again, and where one does the work here and the other one stays home, they just get it.
Yeah, the way they slide over is getting very seamless, and I think one of the reasons maybe why they don't get as much credit is because they're not having to make last-ditch tackles.
And we say they're not getting enough credit because MLS releases its best 11, and Zimmerman made it once because he scored a game-winning goal.
Right.
But Eddie's not seen.
Defenders that score goals seem to always get in, but
Eddie's not been on there. He should have been on there twice.
I need to see more.
Walker should have been on there twice.
I would say my only gripe with it, I would like to see more defenders in there for what they do defensively.
Exactly.
As opposed to assisting or scoring goals. And that's my only gripe. I think, look, it's a tough job. I wouldn't want to have to do it. You have to watch all of the MLS games across 12 hours, sometimes 2 days. But we're lobbying here for our guys, both of them, package deal. Just write them in.
Unless you're both there, then we're not just giving you one. You got to do both.
Just write them in. They both deserve it.
But maybe one. If it's one at a time, we'll take that too. But obviously a package deal would be nice.
Consecutive weeks. But I would really like to see them one time. I think one time get the credit they deserve it. Because Rooney was... It's funny because you look at a team, you say, okay, well, what's this team trying to do? What's this team trying to do? And I'm looking at that game and I'm saying, DC, keep going long, keep going long. I'm like, okay, they're going to go direct. They want to try to get second balls. They want to try to get over our high line. Nothing. So they're thinking they can beat our back line. And to me, I'm like, that's probably the worst idea, at least going behind, because Eddie and Walker just slide so well. And like I said, we don't think of it because we don't see them. There's no Laurent Simon 10-yard slide tackles. There's no,
that was always like holding your breath moments last season, which you don't do that anymore.
Look, those look fantastic on video.
Yeah.
But I'm more than happy to just not have to worry about what those guys are doing and worry about their positioning.
It feels like so much time we're coming to training and seeing Laurent and talking to Laurent. Keep in touch with them with social media, but it's so much has changed in such a short amount of time. But I think it's great because we talked about Eddie arriving here young and hitting the ground running and look like he's been here for years. I also like to give Walker Zimmerman a lot of credit for a lot of times these players get their contract in all sports. They get their contract and there's a little, all right, I've earned this, maybe take my foot off the pedal. He hasn't. He has slammed his foot on the pedal and gotten better. He started the season with the U.S. men's national team. You can see that experience it's kind of like I feel refreshed from going on a little trip. You can see that in my eyes. You can, right? Maybe not.
I'm surprised after a 16-hour flight that you are so refreshed.
But that's what happens.
Drink that makes
this is delicious here. It's not for everyone. You have to be very fortunate to get one of these. But the fact that he's taken that and said, I'm already playing for the next contract. You can see it in the way he's approached this season. This is the best he's ever played. Yeah. Fair enough?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
for any team.
And he should. It's in his prime. But you're right. He
should be getting better, but he's gradually gotten better. Hasn't been a step back.
But players don't always do that, especially in American sports. It's like, I got my contract, I'm good.
I got that fat contract. I'll take my foot off the pedal, okay? I would, at least for a few weeks. Yeah. And then I'll get, all right, I'm going to take it easy. I'm going to Vegas. All right. May hit the pub.
No, he's taking
eat a lot of heavy, greasy food.
Taking on more challenges, and I would, if we could talk to Eddie, I would bet you he would say, like, Walker's been a big help to me.
Yeah.
It's definitely a partnership, and they've definitely complemented each other in nice ways, but on top of it, they've individually taken it upon themselves to be fit, to be ready, to listen, to basically just take everything in, and they're fantastic. They have not put a wrong foot forward for me, really.
They're 15 points ahead of the Timbers. 15 points. It's almost the Timbers will not be able to catch them. They're too far ahead at this point.
Yeah, but you know the way the league works.
Yes.
They'll at least be able to maybe slip into the play. I still think
the Timbers can make the playoffs, but I just think it's stunning. A team that was regarded well, and obviously they've had their issues with players getting ready for their stadium. They have a lot of excuses for their poor start, but just the fact that these were teams that are kind of put in the same breath as top teams in the West, and there's already a 15-point gap.
Well, how about this? 19 goals, best 6-game start to a season in MLS history. Carlos and Diego have 13 goals between them. There is no team in MLS that has 13 goals.
Wow.
Not two guys, team. Like the next closest, there's I think 2 or 3 teams that have 12.
And you have 6 goals from other guys. Yeah. That's a very healthy situation.
Yeah.
I knew we were talking a lot about DC, but we'll come back. We'll get ready for FC Cincinnati, and to me, seems like this could be an interesting challenge for LAFC as they continue to try and protect their house and stay unbeaten this season. We'll preview that next here on Inside LAFC. Welcome back to Inside LAFC. I was telling you this off the air, so I'll just save it for the podcast. But when we do a broadcast or whatever, the exchange of ideas for people in our industry, when you can get on the phone with them a little bit. And Tom Gallardo, and I know I said his name wrong, Gallardo, the FC Cincinnati broadcaster, he reached out to me and just carve out 20 minutes to talk about his team and give some, not too much intel, but enough so you get an idea. I did that with Glenn Davis and other guys with teams ahead of their. It's an exceptionally useful resource. And I want to mention Tom because he had a tweet which was very interesting that this game against LAFC is the first time FC Cincinnati will play a team on real grass this season, which blew me away, which obviously is very telling.
Wow.
Is that crazy? Their home games, and then they played at Atlanta. They opened against Seattle. Yeah.
Wow.
And there's another, but I was like, wow, that is crazy. And that's no minor detail.
Yeah.
Because that's going to manifest itself in some way. For me, initially, my reaction, like, we have too much turf in this league.
Look, every player will put on a brave face if they have to play their home games on turf and say, yeah, our turf's pretty good, actually, blah, blah, blah. But no one really wants to play on turf game in and game out. So they're going to, I'm sure they'll relish the opportunity, especially.
Maybe, so it wouldn't be like a reverse thing here where they'd say, well, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this texture underneath my feet?
Where did you find this?
Because the Nippert Stadium field, just from my perspective when you're watching it, it's really spongy. It almost looks like a trampoline.
Mm-hmm.
The feet go in, it's like all the rubber kicks up.
I suppose that's better than the harder stuff. I don't know. I wouldn't want to play it on a period.
No, that stat kind of bummed me out a bit because it just says, I understand turf is a reality in this league, but the fact that they've played this many road games and all those teams play on turf is like a bit of a bummer.
Well, here's another stat.
Because grass rules. Grass
rules.
I saw real grass. I think I saw that in California. It's real grass.
I don't think they're talking about
fescue.
Yeah, I think it's talking about something else. Nice.
I 100%.
I'll talk to you about that off air, what they're talking about.
Thank you very much. I know what it is.
I love,
don't have to spell it out.
I love the grass stat, and I've got another one for you that's kind of good lead into our preview. Diego Garcia from our PR department said to me, FC Cincinnati has 8 goals by 8 different goal scorers this season.
God, that's going to make the broadcast for sure.
Yeah.
That's not good. That's a little too much.
I don't know.
Parity.
I mean, it's still early enough where I would say it's not bad.
No, they've exceeded expectations early on. I didn't think they were a playoff team. They look like they're going to be competing for a playoff spot.
My idea of this match has changed sharply since when I looked at it at the beginning of the season. I still think, I mean, obviously we're rolling. They're still an expansion team. I still think we need to, they're coming into Big California Stadium. It's going to be interesting how they band together in an atmosphere that's going to be, I mean, we've been gone for 2 weeks. It's going to be.
You can feel it.
Yeah.
You can feel it for sure.
It's pent up. Yeah. So it's going to be loud. But I feel a little more confident in this team that we'll actually see a game. Although I would say this, if I'm a team coming into Big California Stadium, I'm thinking of advantages that I can get on LAFC or just ways I can play that maybe would stifle them. Why wouldn't you follow the RSL blueprint? Which is what we thought FC Cincinnati would do just from the outset.
But they have good players, they have players that are good for that job.
They do. They have but I would say they have players that are good for what RSL did. If you can sit in a low block, you can frustrate, and then they've got guys that are quick, guys that are physical, and you can get out and run. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they do. However, I would say this: we thought they would do that from the onset, and they've shown us that they're not afraid to come out and play a little bit. They're going to be courageous at times, and good for them. And I think that's what has definitely turned my thinking of what we're going to see because, like I said, honestly, when the schedule came out, I was like, oh, we get them early? This would be nice.
Yeah, the way the season's played out, when you looked at the schedule early on, you go, oh, here it is. This is going to be billed as last year's expansion team versus this year's. And that whole expansion discussion is kind of secondary. It's not really worth mentioning it because you have the best team, Major League Soccer, because you have an FC Cincinnati team that's plucky and, to me, has a look of a dangerous team here because, Rich Orozco does a great job, and he knows. He always says, he goes, look, we let's enjoy these games. Head of brand and content here for LAFC. You'll see him everywhere. Take advantage of these games because there's going to be patches where it's not going to be good, and let's just hit it. And this is a perfect game for that because there's so much enthusiasm because of what LAFC did the last 2 weeks that you come in here with a game with all the anticipation. But it also, because of that, because of what Cincinnati's done, this is even more anticipation because it's a solid opponent. This is a team that I don't think is going to roll over.
Yeah, look at it. 1-1-1-1-1. Sorry, Max is just looking at a quick preview, and I'm showing him that all the goal scores.
I do like that Leonardo Bertone. I think he's a good one.
I like the name.
Leonardo Bertone, and then Ushoa.
Sounds like he should be a chocolatier.
Yeah, I had a lot of chocolate in Paris.
Did you?
The Lindt giant, it's like a Disneyland store of Lindt chocolate, and you just get a bag and you put it in there. And you pull one out and eat it before you weigh it, which is a no-no. Oh, yes, but he does sound like a chocolatier.
Yeah.
So, and this is going to be an intense affair, I think. But well, maybe not. Maybe LAFC continues to roll. Although they've had home has been a little trickier. I mean, they've based on what we saw in these last 2 road games, those were the most comprehensive wins. The last couple times at home, with the Walker Zimmerman rescue job at the end, they've had to grind it out a little bit.
Yeah, and I think if Bob's looking at it, he probably wants us to play a little bit more like we played against San Jose and maybe a little less like DC, because, again, the fluidity. We want to see some more passes. We want to see some more control, because LAFC controlled the scoreline. I wouldn't say they controlled the match per se, at least with the ball. So against Cincinnati, you're going to be the home team. You're probably going to have to be the one. I don't think they're going to sit back as far as I would think they should, but you're still going to have the impetus is still going to be on LAFC to break them down, and I don't think Lee Win is going to be ready for this match.
That's an interesting discussion. Do we have that discussion?
It's an interesting discussion.
Because when he is ready to go, does he get back in because the team is playing so well? Latif Blessing is...
It's tough to change a team that's winning. And
not wasted a minute out there.
No, and Latif has been playing very well and doing things that you wouldn't consider Latif type things. I would say, going back to that second goal, Latif just playing a one-touch pass. And I even talked to him. I said, when you're a winger and we transition, your mindset's a little different, right? You get the ball, you want to dribble. He goes, yeah, but Bob has told me sometimes you need to go fast, sometimes you need to play 1 and 2 touch. So he's soaking everything in, and you can tell each week he's becoming better center mid. And I was talking with someone else. I go, so Latif, winger. He goes, yeah. I go, then you guys go Latif right back. And I go, so I bought into that with you guys. I said, okay, I'll go with you guys on this. Then you throw me for a loop and go, no, Latif center mid.
Yeah, I like him there.
And I think that center mid might be his best position. And,
I think he's...
And all the person from the staff told me was it's not a bad problem to have.
No. But he's earned it. But, it's just everyone who wants to get in there, every other midfielder, when they're healthy, Lee Win, Andre Horta, everyone there, you just have to keep going and grinding. You'll get that opportunity. And look, Latif, one was afforded to Latif, and he's held on to it. I don't see any reason, unless there's some sort of change of philosophy, which there isn't going to be. But if there's an injury, it shouldn't really change. But we'll see. It's a good problem to have. Everything's a good problem. Having 2 strikers that want to play.
Everything's a good problem when you're at the top of the table.
Yeah.
And no one's going to pity you either when you have these type of problems. So you just roll with them.
The kids are having a good time. I was going to mention they haven't played it, but they've played a little bit in Nico and Shaft. I saw them at the national team game. They're all together, and they're just happy.
Yeah.
Everyone, even though they're not playing a lot, everyone just looks happy, and they're fitting into the team and settled in. I think that says a lot to the club as well. Even though some guys aren't getting all that playing time, they know they might down the road, and they're. You don't see a lot of guys kind of, even at practice, kind of having those discussions. They're just putting their head down, and it's working. It's a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint what's different in season 2.
There's great energy, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, the energy is the same, but it is slightly different, right? It just seems, because it seems like we're all settled in more. Like I wouldn't say we were worried, but when you have an initial season where look, everyone's going to be on our team and on our side. They're going to love us. We're new. We're the new kids. You start to think like, well, will this go away? Will this energy and enthusiasm go away? And I think the difference is we're like, oh, we've been through it. This is just what we do now, and it feels that way, and it's fun that way.
Mohamed Al Munir gets a sniff of play, so you get him involved too, and he's happy.
Yeah,
he was happy. From all reports that he got the game, he was like elated.
Could not stop smiling from what we heard, which is great. And you know what? Now is the time, because we play Cincinnati Wednesday, Vancouver, then Seattle on Saturday.
There you go. This is a stretch.
Seattle. So these games are going to start coming. So this is a perfect time for those guys to maybe see a little bit of time. We talked about this last time. We want to try to nitpick maybe just a little bit, but we can't pull anything from this.
And things are going well, but this was the design, and everyone was brought on board to play these roles, and everyone's happy, and it's all good. Maybe a few injuries. I think that's the one thing. Niggling injuries for a couple players, which you can't really control, but you have the cover for those guys at this point.
Yeah, again, that's the one thing. Whenever people ask me about, like, what do you love about this team, and what I really love is the staff between Bob and then up to John Thornton. I never doubt them for a second when they bring players in, because they just have such a good track record of bringing guys. It's almost the American football next man up version.
Yeah. All right. I think that was pretty thorough.
That was pretty thorough.
2 great stats. I'm trying to figure out which one's better. The surface or the 8 different goal scorers?
The surface.
You decide.
I think the surface is just so rare.
Yeah. All right. I win.
Stat. I kind of love it. But no, check it out. The goal scoring stats from LAFC and just the record start. I think there's a few other ones. Carlos right now is on pace to have the best goal scoring start. There's so many things just rolling in the right direction.
I'm amazed he keeps hitting that spot and guys don't defend him. He just curls it off that left foot. It's like
it's not that guys don't defend him.
But there's always they can't. He just gets there. I told someone. It's like I said, the Steph Curry analogy. He finds it. He did it again this week.
Well, I told someone, you know what would have been the best is if we could have somehow gotten.
Teams have to take that away from him. I don't know how they can.
Well, could you imagine being inside Birnbaum's head at that moment where he's like, okay, it's Carlos, back up, I'm dead. Like literally one cut, dead.
Yeah.
What do you do?
So everything is remarkable. Diego Rossi. I mean, we talked about him. Now he looks like a real MVP candidate. We joked around it. You said, "What, you're going to give him 20 goals, maybe?"
20 goals. He's got 6.
He's there. He's going to get 20 goals. He's going to get 20 goals. And this is an important stretch because LAFC will be dormant for the back end of June. And
June is a weird month, very weird month, and that's a Gold Cup too.
Accrue points, and then
if you can just stack it up.
Great segue there. We'll talk about the Gold Cup draw.
You
and a little Champions League.
Okay, we'll do a little Champions League.
I don't think much to talk about the Champions League.
We'll just touch around for a little bit more. Why not?
We'll come back and talk about that on Inside LAFC. And by the way, if you can't get to Bank of California Stadium, it is a hot ticket. Great time to subscribe to YouTube TV. Join me and the crew for the game. All programming leading up to it. You should have it anyway. At the game? No? We'll take a peek. Take a listen.
You're still pushing the second
screen. Like
such an old mindset.
Be like that old Italian guy listening to the other game, at the San Siro. How's the Bologna doing? Allora, che cosa fai?
Yeah, if you're going to do that, but subscribe to us, maybe then you listen.
Yeah.
And then...
Due gole! Gianluca Vialli!
All right, throw it to break.
All right, we'll be back. Inside LAFC, we don't just talk about LAFC, although we could easily just talk about LAFC. There's so much to discuss.
We were going to just talk about LAFC, but this is a bonus segment.
Bonus segment.
You subscribe for free, and you even get free content.
Free content. We want to make you smarter, and not just for LAFC, but everything. So the Gold Cup draw was made. This is a 16-team field. Mm-hmm. This is massive. Does Concacaf warrant having? Probably not. Remember back then, the Gold Cup, they would invite teams from all over. And I was at
Brazil.
I remember there was a final I went to. It was a bit of a downer. So Canada, it was Colombia and Canada at the Coliseum, and they didn't expect those two to make it. So USA, Mexico, Canada, Colombia, in a downpour at the Coliseum. There must have been 4,000 people there, and including yours truly. And I was like, "What are you doing?" Canada won it. That was the yesteryear.
Oh, that was the one Canada win. Wow.
Yeah. So
Colombia
that was
must
weird.
not have cared much for it either.
And I'll do a quick observation on this, and it was. I used to cover this a lot, and when I was at Fox, we'd have the rights, and I would broadcast. One of my favorite moment was Benny Feilhaber scored the goal at 2007 Gold Cup in Chicago. But every time it happened, it was always USA-Mexico, USA-Mexico. But the last 2 Gold Cups have not been USA-Mexico. It was USA-Jamaica, Mexico-Jamaica.
Yep.
And that's great for the league because, that's great for the competition because it shows you're not wasting your time during those group stages. And with an expanded tournament, I think it may help the field more than the 2 favorites. So Mexico has Canada, Martinique, and Cuba. I don't think maybe Canada can compete for first in that group, and then the United States, Panama, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, and the United States have had issues with Panama in recent editions of this. So it throws a tournament into and I think the rest of the field has closed the gap, certainly on the U.S. and Mexico probably within reach too. A few of those countries, certainly Costa Rica, to make it interesting. I think that's good for the region. It'd be nice to see some of the. I'd say this: if I had a wish list for a team to do well, it would be Canada because of the players they have. If Canada can be made, Jamaica has proven they can do well. El Salvador as another one that I think if you can get these teams to be a little bit more impactful, but I think Canada is capable of it because we're seeing more of their players on an individual basis. If they had the infrastructure and that hits, like a guy like Mark Anthony Kaye and a few others, Alphonso Davies, you have another strong team in CONCACAF.
Yeah, and I think maybe if I'm looking at the groups, maybe
Here you go, take a peek.
Maybe they don't have the highest of highs, but Group C, Honduras, Jamaica, El Salvador, that's
good games.
That's 3 tough teams. And speaking of Jamaica, Peter Lee Vassell, they'll have a game at Bank California Stadium, which is pretty cool. So if you want to come out and check out a game in Bank California, we'll have an LAFC player that will probably be on the forefront of those games. But
are you excited for Nicaragua, Bermuda?
Yes.
You know what? I would watch that.
I mean,
but that's where the depth is really tested. That's
Max,
Nicaragua. Just so you know, I think baseball's #1 in that country, in Central America.
Yes.
It's one of those. So soccer trails behind, but good for them that they made it. But it's not going to be pretty.
Max, let's not beat around the bush.
Haiti's the second team.
I know who you want to talk about. Let's talk about Cuba.
I get it.
Tell me about Cuba.
No
Nothing.
comment.
Oh,
it's depressing.
Yeah,
it's just sports in Cuba has gone so bad.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I don't know. I don't want to get political here. In case you don't know, both my parents were Cuban exiles, but I think because of the squeeze of the old regime in the Barcelona Olympic Games. This is when Castro's sports machine was floating. No, you're not supposed to cheer for Cuba if you're one of the exiles, but I quietly did because they are Cubans, and they finished 5th in the medal count. They were ahead of like Germany and other countries. They were ahead of, that would never happen now.
Yeah.
The soccer is supposedly getting better, and you can't really cheer for them. I wish I could. I want that day. I know they could produce good players, but they earned their spot. Good for them. And then baseball is, I guess, some news now where they're not going to Trump reverse the. I can't believe the President Obama verdict where they loosened the restrictions on Cuban baseball players, but they kind of slammed on that, which I like that. I don't think the embargo worked here. I better stop here. But yeah, I don't think the embargo worked. But Cuba's got to do a make good for their people as well. You got to look out for them and say, okay, we're not going to make money off of this. We're going to let these guys achieve their dreams, but they don't do that, and they should.
The first Inside LAFC podcast with international relations.
You started this, Vince.
I just wanted to hear about Cuba because I knew.
I don't know anything about the Cuban.
Cuba homer. So
no, I know nothing about the Cuban team. It's very hard to do it.
Well, then my mistake. But yeah, the Gold Cup's going to be fun. There's going to be fun games. There's going to be players that. There's always players that come. And I think we saw this in the Concacaf Champions League games. There's players that all of a sudden you've never heard of, and they've been playing for some team in Nicaragua or some team in Honduras, and they're good players. I mean, the wealth of talent in the world. There's always these hidden players. So I think what we're gonna get to see is in these games we'll have some good games. There'll definitely be some stinkers, but we'll have some games where we'll find some players, hopefully some young players, some young 19, 20-year-old guys like a Peter Lee Vassell that will surprise you and do some things because they just want to show out in a tournament like this. So I like it. I think that if you have a chance, if you have a chance to see one of these games, go see it. I'm biased because we have Bank California Stadium and we have some great games: Honduras, El Salvador, Jamaica.
That's gonna be intense.
That's gonna be intense. I can't remember. Is
Amado Guevara floating around here, Honduran legend, had a really nice moment. I shouldn't say that, but he had a nice moment with Bob coming around our practice facility. And Amado Guevara looks great. Looks exactly the same player. So we're excited for the Gold Cup. Real quickly, one observation from the Champions League first leg quarterfinals, one each. Again, my final was Manchester City-Liverpool. I'm sticking with it. Liverpool looks like they really have a handle of this. Manchester City has some work to do in the second leg as they allowed the goal to Tottenham Hotspur. Did you have your final?
I would love to see Juventus-Barcelona.
Yeah, that would be. That looks like it could happen. So give me one observation you took.
My observation is this, and it's something I told a friend of mine. He said, I don't think your team, I'm a Juventus fan, I don't think your team can breathe a sigh of relief yet. And I said, yeah, I get it, but I really like Max Allegri and his ability to change tactics in the second leg. I think that's good. What I would say is this, I wish I didn't have to play Ajax, not because they're good. Juventus lately has been like the evil empire for everything.
Stamping them out.
I feel like we're squashing what everyone's favorite team is in this, and I would just wish it would have to be another team that would have to do it, or Ajax to get past them, because obviously I don't want Ajax to get by my team, but I would say this, man, that Ajax team's the real deal. I'm curious. They're already going to be losing one player to Barcelona, probably going to be losing another, but if they could have kept that team together, maybe one more run at it would be nice. But
yeah, it's kind of like that Monaco team with Mbappe a couple years, which was so fun, but you knew it was going to get torn to pieces, which it did, and even worse, Bernardo Silva.
Which is why I feel even worse that I think we're going to knock them out, but I don't want to be that team.
They'll make their money. They'll get some new players. Dutch soccer's on the up and up.
Yeah.
My observation is Barcelona, you can nickel and dime teams to death if you can, and they're doing it. It's not pretty. 1-0 in the first leg at Old Trafford. I think if they keep doing that, it's not. We're not going to go, oh, Messi is glorious, and it's going to be messy and ugly. No pun intended. But it's going to be an ugly game in many cases. But if that's the way you navigate, so many Champions League trophies have been won in that style. Barcelona, that's impressed me that they can ugly it up and be successful and not rely so much on Lionel Messi, which they did not at all in this game, and they get a road win. That makes I did not pick them to go. I think the semis, but not really. Actually, I picked the Manchester United this. I would switch it now if I could, but the way they are churning results out in this competition says that they have a real shot at this.
Yeah, you get the feeling that Barcelona.
We're critical of them all the time. They're not critical. This is by design. This is.
Yeah. I told someone after the Barcelona game and after the City game, I go, wouldn't surprise me one bit if that reverse leg is a 5-1 hammering or something. Yeah. It just seems like they're slow playing it a little bit. But you're right. If Barcelona can play dirty, play just kind of tough, and basically say, like, Messi, if you want to chip in, that'd be nice.
Yeah, perfect.
Then that's perfect.
But give everyone credit. If Barcelona gets it, don't go, oh, Lionel Messi. No. It's a team. It's a team.
They've been good. The only one that I think was really poor in that game was Suarez.
Wait, who's the center back? Not PK.
Oh, the newer guy. I saw him.
He's dicey.
Yeah, he had a rough.
He's an accident waiting to happen. But I said that about Samuel Umtiti in the World Cup, and he ended up being a game blank. I thought he is an accident waiting, but it never happened. So
no.
All right, let's wrap it up. I'm not the biggest guy, but we're taping this on April 11th. Every time I pick up my phone, it says April 11th. I was gonna say it's my birthday today.
What? Is it really your birthday today? How did you save it for all the way to the end?
I don't say anything. I'm not going to say it's my birthday, but every time I pick it up, it says April 11th. I go, that's my birthday.
Oh, well, happy birthday, Max. Jeez. Now I feel like a horrible person.
No one should feel it. Our HR department releases the birthdays, and then...
I delete that email the second I
Sandy, it's like, it goes, hey, April birthdays. I looked at it, and mine wasn't there, and I'm like...
Oh, that's how, then that's how I didn't know. Actually, what I do is
I reached out to her, and I go, why is my birthday? She goes, you didn't fill out the paperwork correctly. I'm like, what? I guess I had to redo my paperwork.
Classic Bredos.
100% classic Bredos.
Well, happy birthday, Max.
All right.
Do Max a favor. Subscribe to Inside LAFC for his birthday.
That's all I want.
You get this content, the bonus content that we did in this episode. You get Jordan Harvey's back-to-back podcast, Walker Zimmerman, the Locker Room podcast, which another one is coming tomorrow, I believe, for Walker. Jordan and Beta back next week. So
excellent.
There's a lot of content that you get. And just do it for my man's birthday.
Yeah.
He needs those numbers. It makes him happy.
Come on, subscribe.
Look,
tell a friend.
We are not underneath wanting to have big numbers. We definitely are very vain in that way, and we want.
It helps with the higher ups.
Yes.
They get off our back.
The man.
Thank you. Inside of please leave your comments as well. That's always helpful.
Ratings and comments.
We might read them.
Wait, one last thing. Speaking of ratings, please leave
rate and review.
Please rate and review, and if you could do it on iTunes, because I don't know if you know this, Max. 2 people gave us 1-star ratings. And I'm gonna say
that kills the.
I'm gonna say those weren't our fans. I think they might be from a locale not far from here, maybe from a team. So guys, we can't let them do that to our podcast.
That's like giving 1 star to an Uber driver. It wrecks the whole thing.
It was 1 star without even.
See that Larry David episode?
1 star without even a comment. Hey, if you're gonna 1-star me, I need to know why.
Yeah, you would if it was a hotel review. Like, so this place smells.
Please rate and review, and we'll see you guys next week.